Hello and welcome back to the Villa View for another match preview. This episode is once again sponsored by BetBall. Download BetBall today and if you bet £20 you'll get £20 back as a free bet. You can follow the most successful tipsters to copy their bets and spin the wheel to get up to a 30% ACCA boost. You can download the BetBall app using our link in the description below. Please don't sign up to the app if you're under the age of 18 and do gamble responsibly. So as you can see at the moment I'm all alone and I'm doing the intro, so that tells you that Dan is not with us today. He's unfortunately failed a last minute fitness test before the game and can't be with us today. However, he will be back with the microphone for fan cams tomorrow. So that just leaves me with the pleasure of welcoming back an old face. We've now got the budget big enough to bring him back because we've sold a couple of mugs. So big thanks to Matt Lynch for joining me on today's preview. So then Matt, thank you very much for joining me at late notice once again. Big move down to Southampton since we last spoke. How's life treating you?
Yeah, it's good. Yeah, it's good down here. It's good to be down here and doing what I love doing. So really happy. It just happens to be that I'm absolutely miles away.
Just before we go any further in this preview, there's a massive thunderstorm that's just come out over my house, so if the audio is a little bit bad, apologies for that.
Just heard it.
Yeah, it's pretty loud. So Wigan tomorrow at Villa Park, first game back. It feels like it's been ages since we've been there. What are your general thoughts on Wigan? They had a great start last week, and according to Steve Bruce today, he said that they could have scored 4 or 5.
They've invested well this summer. Last time that Wigan were in the Championship, they were iffy and they weren't really that solid. But I think they've gone out there this summer and done a very good job. They've managed to keep hold of Byrne, who's obviously signed for Brighton, but he's moved back on loan until the end of the season. I think that's a really important move for them. And then on top of that, the likes of Evans coming in from Sheffield United, he's an experienced player in this division in midfield. So it's interesting to see what they are going to offer. And then as well as that, Joe Garner's come in on transfer deadline day. You know, he's very much a prolific, I'd say, striker in this division, and everyone knows the ability that he's got. So I think for us, it's going to be a tough encounter because we're going to well organised and they've brought in some sensible players that will do a good job for them. And I think that they will be fairly stable throughout this season. And to start off with the win against Sheffield Wednesday speaks volumes because tough place to go and play football, and they've done that quite well.
We'll come on to our predicted lineup a little bit later, but is there any sort of areas of our squad where you think that Wigan might be able to exploit it? Maybe a certain defender, or they can go down the left or the right or anything like that? There's the Thunder.
I think Neil Taylor comes across as being the scapegoat in that Aston Villa side, and it's not even being cruel against him. I think that's where our main weakness will come from, is because I haven't seen much from Neil Taylor defensively recently to suggest that he's got out of the bad vein of form that he was in later last season. So for me, I think that's a problem that we have to sort of combat and we have to come against. So for me, it's about keeping it tight down that side. And I'd say a bit about Transabi potentially playing at left back, but for me, that's a poor decision to be able to do that. I don't think that's the right move. So
yeah.
For me, it's the risk for me is at Neil Taylor at left back.
The idea of putting Twanzebe at left back, again, not really his position, although he can play across the back four. Most of the Man United fans are saying that he should be given a shot at centre back. Like centre back is his position and that's where he should play. So yeah, Neil Taylor should play at left back in theory because he's the only natural left back that we've got at this point. Don't think he's a bad player by any means. I just think he's a human being at the end of the day. His confidence is low and he's just not performing properly.
It's a tough one for Steve Bruce looking in there what he's going to do defensively, but I'm not a fan of inverted players full stop because in the end of the day that's not their natural sort of position in terms of where they're kicking the ball. So from that perspective, Hutton, he's obviously going to start. You wouldn't expect him not to. The same goes for Al Mohammadi, but every chance that Neil Taylor could drop in there. But for me, it's still that left side that's a weakness if you put Hutton there or if you put Neil Taylor there.
Is there a particular player from Wigan that you look at and say, yeah, he's the danger man?
Going into it, to be honest, I liked Max Power when he played for them last season, but he's left now for Sunderland. So I think that Joe Garner, inevitably, he's a striker that scores goals in this division, and if he does start or if he comes on, there'll be a real threat from there for me. But then Nick Powell as well, who's done so well. I think it's in the last 6 games he's either scored a goal or he's given an assist, and obviously we were interested in him as well. So Nick Powell's going to be a big threat, and especially when Wigan come to Villa Park, only having won, I think it's 4 of the last 5 games they played at Villa Park, they've won. So they come here in a good vein of form. Obviously they lost by that 1 goal last season, but apart from that, they've always done well at Villa Park.
Jack Grealish remains an Aston Villa player, which is a massive, massive sign of intent from the new owners. As I said, he's not leaving, and here he is. He's still a Villa player now. Going back, off topic a little bit, going back a few weeks, we were thinking it might be going into administration. Jack Grealish will end up going for 15 million, and we won't sign any players. Nobody expected a few weeks ago that we'd have kept hold of Jack Grealish, James Chester, Jonathan Codger, and been able to bring players in. So transfer window now is a massive success, really.
It looks really bright, I think, for me. I think that we've got not as good a squad as last season, but I think it's definitely up there. I think there's no excuse for this side not to be within playoff contention. I think looking back a few weeks ago, you'd taken mid-table and snatched somebody's hand off for it. But since we've kept hold of James Chester and Jack Grealish, we should be top 3. We should be in that top 6. It's going to be a tough season. It's going to be a long slog. We know sides around us are spending a lot of money. But I think that the advantage we've got is that we haven't lost sort of the nucleus of that team too. I know that we've lost John Terry, but for me, James Chester was just as pivotal last season. I think we've now that Jack Grealish is still here. That's a massive, massive boost to everyone around the place, whether that's the fan base, whether that's the players. To know that the owners are that ambitious to keep him, that speaks volumes for me. And I think that'll have a real boost about the place. And our transfer, you can't really fault it too much. I think we'd have wanted that left back in Joe Byrne, but you can't have everything in that sense. And I took the fact that we haven't got a left back if we could have kept hold of James Chester and Jack Grealish, and that's what we've done.
I feel much more confident of saying that we've got a good chance of going up this year. Now we've got Jack Grealish. If he'd have gone, I'd have sat here and probably thought, I think we could probably scrape top 6. But I think there's every reason to say now that the target should be top 2. I don't think there's any excuses with what we've seen in the league so far and who we've got. The aim is definitely within the club will be top 2. And I don't think it's impossible for us to be able to reach that. We weren't miles away last year with a decent start and no crazy sticky patches around January like last year. I think top 2 is possible.
Anything is possible, as we saw last season. This league, there's always teams that creep up and do well. I think that you look at the start that we've got in terms of games, and there's no reason why, if we don't set up to play and attack a bit more, then that we shouldn't be top 2 by the time you mentioned the likes of Swansea coming along and Brentford. I know we've got Reading amongst that as well. I'm interested to see what they do this season, because many may have tipped them for relegation, but they've kept hold of Moore at centre-back, who's a real good player for them. So anyway, apart from that, I do think that there should be no real excuses. I think that after 10 games, that top 6 is where we should be sitting. And
100%.
I think that as long as we go out on the offensive, then that shouldn't be a problem.
So we'll run through our lineups then, and before we do, I'd just like to give a quick shout out to Matt Ashmore, who some of you will remember played at Villa Park with us. I mean, Matt, you'll have met him back in 2016, was that, I think?
Yeah, it was.
Feels long ago. We've been working on a few designs together, so he's designed us a team lineup graphic, which you're about to see, which looks great, and a few little transitions and animations and things like that. So first of all, we're going to look through the team that we think Steve Bruce might go for, and then a team that we'd like to see, if it was up to us to pick our perfect 11. So we've got, is it Orjan? So we've got Nyland in goal. I'm not going to try and pronounce his first name because I'm not too sure. Alan Hutton right back, Tommy Elphick and James Chester at centre half. Axel Tuanzebe comes in at left back. Glenn Whelan in the holding role. Conor Hourihane, Jack Grealish. Making this graphic earlier to put Jack Grealish on there was great. El Mohammadi right mid. Jonathan Codger up front and Albert Adoma on the left. What are your thoughts on that team if that's what we go with tomorrow?
I don't agree with that left back. I feel very uncomfortable with that, considering that United fans wanted to keep Tuanzebe to play at centre half this season for United. He had that good of a pre-season. It'd be dim and stupid to put him at left back, but obviously I'm back whatever decision it is. But for me, he should be at centre back, and if not, then he's on the bench, and then he has to work his way back into that team. I think that I'd like to see John McGinn come on the second half, and why change what's broken at the moment, to be honest? These players that have come in, obviously you've got the obvious steers now at Charlton, so Nyland's going to come in. That's fine, I expect that. But other than that, I can't see any changes in the side, and I wouldn't want to either. And I think that John McGinn to come on as an impact in the second half and potentially change the game if we're in a position where we need him to. I
don't know, that team just doesn't inspire me too much, but then I'll scroll down it and see Jack Grealish's name and Jonathan Codger, James Chester, Conor Hourihane, and there's enough there that team is enough to win most games in the Championship. I still feel, obviously you need your keeper to come in and hit the ground running. But yeah, the team that we've put together as the sort of team we'd like to see if it was a perfect world is Nyland in goal, El Mohammadi at right back, Tuanzebe and Chester as a centre-half pairing. Alan Hutton remain at left back. Same midfield, Glenn Whelan, Hourihane and Grealish. Adoma on the right, Codger up front and Andre Green on the left. Now that moves Adoma back onto his preferred right side, but obviously he's done well on the left for us. But Andre Green gets some minutes pretty early on in the season. I feel like he's a great talent that we need to play. We need pace. He's direct. He's got a great finish on him. I feel like, especially picking this team with a home game in mind, I feel like an Adoma, Codger, Green front three, Grealish in behind, Hourihane, box to box. I feel like that's an exciting team and one that I'd love to see play.
It's the ideal world for me. Andre Green had a brilliant pre-season, and he did last year before the injuries come along. And I think that he needs those minutes under his belt. He's a great player, a great prospect. For me, let's give him a go on the wing and see what happens, because he's got that ability. He's the right sort of age. He's a raw talent, but he's very direct, as you touched on. He's got a finish on him as well. And I think we need somebody that's got the balls to just go and hit one, to be honest, and have a go at goal. And I think that's what he offers, is the fact that he's not scared to have a go. And I think McGinn's very similar in terms of his running style is very direct, and equally he's not scared to have a shot on him either. Yeah. So between the two of them, we've got options now, and I think that's valuable on the wing, because last season I think we were very short at times, especially when players were getting injured, and you had Albert Adoma ended up dropping to left back, I think, at some points from memory.
Going on to prediction, I feel like it's easy to say, yeah, Villa win again, but I feel like that'd be underestimating Wigan a little bit. It might not be as easy as some people think.
I'm going to go 2-0 Villa. I think it'd be quite comfortable, to be honest. So I'm going to go with
so it negates everything I've just said.
2-0. I'm going to go with 2-0. Stick to my guts with that one. I'd back Grealish as well tomorrow. I would back him to score.
Obviously, this match preview is sponsored by BetBall, so we're going to take a quick look at those odds. The link to download the app is in the description below. If you're under the age of 18, avoid it. And if you do go on the app, please gamble responsibly. So looking on the BetBall app, you've gone for a 2-0 Villa, which is odds of 8-1, which I'm a little bit surprised actually. I think that's decent. Stake of £10 wins you £90. So get on that, Matt. I like that.
Should back it though, definitely. You did well last week though.
Oh, mate. My time to glow a little bit. Yeah, so my prediction last week, obviously I went 3-1 Villa. At the time I just thought, I'll go with another sort of wild shout, which I always do. If you've watched these videos since I've been doing them, I always go for a crazy goal scorer or whatever. I've done mine earlier, so I've got a little bit of screen capture, which I'll put on screen now. I've gone for a little bit different bets this time. I think the scoreline will be 2-1 Villa. The bet I've put on is also 8-1, and it's Wigan to score first, but Villa to go on and win.
Interesting.
I can see Wigan nicking a goal pretty early on and us going, oh my god, what's going on? And then we come back and win. So yeah, not too bad. If you fancy a little bet, then go to the link in the description. Thank you very much for watching today's match preview ahead of the Wigan game. Do get involved in the comments down below and share your predictions for the game. Want to know first goal scorers, what do you think the score is going to be, what are you expecting from Wigan, and also do keep an eye out on the channel for those fan cams. Dan Bardell should be out of his sick bed by then, outside the hole and in our usual place as we've done for the last couple of years now. We're looking to get your thoughts on the game after the game as soon as possible. Thank you for the support on the channel lately, especially in these last couple of weeks. We really appreciate that you guys out there enjoy what we're trying to do. If you're going to the game tomorrow, do enjoy it, and up the Villa. If you enjoyed that video, why not watch another one? Click one of the video options on screen now, and if you don't mind, subscribe to the channel. Thanks for watching.